Welcome back to the Frisky Risky Betting and Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Willie P, Tyler Z. It is Wednesday, September 11th, and we have a quick show for you today. We're going to do a real quick one today, get into some big bets for this weekend's games and our pick 'em, which, we're going to have to talk just a little bit about those pick 'ems that we disagreed on last.
Mm,
I don't know if you guys heard last week, but I currently have the 3-1 lead
God.
over the disagreement games, so far. Will's gonna have to make up a little bit of room, but we'll see if he can do that this week. But before we get into that, we are gonna start with the money line and spread bets from the legend himself, Willie P. Will, give them to us.
Well, let this be a lesson to everyone, especially if you're putting your hard-earned money on NFL football. Do not bet with your heart. That is why I'm 3-2. We easily could have been 2-2, but I went with the Denver Broncos against the Seahawks last week, and they looked great in the first half, forced two safeties, and then they proceeded to do what they have done for the past 8 years and break my heart. So just don't be emotional. Stick to the data. That's what we're doing here. Getting right into it. I'm taking the Colts on the spread. Be careful with this one. It's minus 3.5 right now out on the road at the Packers. The Packers obviously had a pretty tough loss last week in Sao Paulo, Brazil. I think the Colts will keep that sad start going for the Packers, as they obviously don't have their starting quarterback in Jordan Love, and they will be starting Malik Willis. That does not spell a lot of offensive success in my mind. Um, the Colts also have the best turnover differential at home, obviously on the road, but I think they're going to cause a lot of turnovers even on the road against this sketchy Packers offense with Malik Willis. The Packers also have a very shoddy run defense, and we know who's in the backfield for the Colts in Jonathan Taylor. You'll see later, but I think Taylor's going to have a big, big game, just like Saquon Barkley did last Friday night in Brazil. So give me the Colts on the spread. They'll win by at least a touchdown, or at least they should. I have a very good faith in that pick. Vegas doesn't. They're minus 105 right now. I'm sure that line will move by the time we get to Sunday. So get it as early as you can so you can get the best odds. But I like the Colts on the spread at minus 3.5.
I'm surprised that Vegas has that as close as it is because I would be with you. I think, without Jordan Love, I don't think Green Bay has much of a chance to come that close unless like Willis just has a game of his life. But
Yeah,
I mean, Anthony Richardson, despite their loss to the Texans, they played pretty
yeah,
well. I mean, the Colts were right in it to the end. So that's interesting to me. But yeah, I got to go with you on that one.
yeah.
I think you got to take the Colts.
Yeah, all these odds. Looking at lines this early in the week is interesting because you kind of see what Vegas is really trying to show. It seems like, and obviously all the money hasn't come in, yada yada yada. So a lot of these odds are minus 105. So that's why I'm like, take it as early as you can. I have been because get the most juice out of them. Next one, this one might be a little surprising with how the Cowboys played last week on the road at the Browns, but I'm taking the Saints on the money line, or excuse me, Saints on the spread plus 6.5. It's minus 105 again. The Saints have covered in 7 out of their last 10 games against top tier teams. Cowboys obviously a playoff team, so um, yeah, the way the Saints played, obviously they played a very lackluster Panthers team, so that obviously can inflate the way they looked week one. But Derek Carr looked very skilled. I know you're not a big fan of Derek Carr, neither am I, since he's a former Raider. But the numbers say the Saints should cover the 6.5 against the Cowboys on the road. Granted, I'm a little nervous about this one, given that it is in AT&T Stadium, and obviously the Cowboys have just had two major signings in their biggest offensive pieces in CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, and it'll be their home opener, so everybody will be all riled up to see them. But according to the data, the Saints should cover 6.5. So I tell you to take it a little more weary than that first pick with the Colts on the spread, but I like the Saints at plus 6.5 on the road this week.
Yeah, that one definitely worries me a little bit. I think like you said, the Saints played the Panthers,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't put too much into what happened in Week 1 for them, and I also don't know if they have the team that sustains that success moving forward. I think they will have games like that. I think they will have games just like we've talked about with Derek Carr. it's not that we don't love Derek Carr. Well, I don't love Derek Carr, but it's that we don't love his inconsistency, right?
100%.
He can come out and he can have, the game of his life. We've seen him do it. We've seen him go off, but you just can't rely on it. And so when you're making a bet with him, it truly is a bet, right? It's not a
Mhm.
lock when he's involved. So that's something that definitely makes me a little bit weary. But if you want, hey, this show is the frisky and the risky.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
we're gonna
This
give you both. If you're a risky guy,
yeah.
risky girl, then you
I
take it.
got 4 picks. This is the second out of the 4. This is definitely, the 4th, I'm most confident in, but when get back to me on the next show. You'll be like, "Wow, how did he know that they were gonna cover 6
Yeah.
points?" Who knows? We'll
I hope
see. I
so.
hope so
I hope
too,
so.
'cause, we've done pretty well so far, so, next one. This one is weird to me. I'm taking the Rams money line at Arizona. They're plus 102 at least yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if that line has already moved if people saw that and just jumped on it because I feel like the Rams obviously had a good showing week one against the Lions on Sunday Night Football, and obviously some things didn't go their way. They ended up losing in overtime. Or the Cardinals did
And lost Puka.
and lost Puka, but the Cardinals did look good against the Bills week one on the road. I just don't. I don't know why. I just don't really. I kind of feel the same way about Kyler Murray right now as you do with Derek Carr. Seems a little too inconsistent for me. Obviously, James Conner had a big week, but Marvin Harrison did little to nothing, and he's supposed to be their savior in that wide receiver core. So I'm kind of just waiting to see it from the Cardinals. It is a divisional game. The big thing with this is it's a big trend, and it makes me a little nervous because it could see some regression. But the Rams are 9-0 straight up on the road in Arizona since 2015. So if you're going to give me that trend, you're going to give me plus money, I'm going to take the riskiness and I'm going to try and double my money. So give me the Rams on the money line. I'd say get that as quick as you can. I wouldn't be surprised if it, by the time it got to Sunday, got to a pick 'em where we're around 115 apiece, something like that. So, but yeah, I like the way the Rams looked week one. Sean McVay's a great coach, great play caller. Obviously, Cooper Cup's going to have a bigger workload ahead of him after his 14 catches.
Need that. I need
Yeah,
that for my fantasy
so
team with
um,
CMC. Who knows what's gonna happen with him with
jeez,
his
man, he's
Achilles
got
tendonitis,
tendonitis.
so
I mean, my Lanta, dude, that is I mean, the Madden curse. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. That is a real thing. I 100% believe it now. It's like it's
yeah.
ridiculous. But yeah, give me the Rams on the money line. Yeah, if you're going to give me that solid of a team and how people think they're going to make a playoff run this year at plus money in week two, I'm going to take that every day of the week, especially when they're 9-0 straight up against the Cardinals on the road since 2015. So yeah,
No, I like that one. I like the Rams.
yep. Last one. This is purely, and you can call me a hater. I don't really care, but give me the Commanders on the spread against the Giants at home. Daniel Jones is a sad excuse for an NFL quarterback. His own fan base will not support him. Granted, that's kind of how New York Giants fans have always been. They're kind of like the worst fan base in the NFL. I hope we don't have too many Giants listeners, but they are not good at supporting their team through thick and thin. I loved the way Jaden Daniels looked week one. For being a rookie quarterback, he obviously didn't throw for a passing touchdown, but he had two rushing, and that Commanders offense looked good. So I just can't put any money on the Giants right now. I also think 2 points is nothing crazy. I could see this game coming down to a last second field goal. And if that does happen, then we cover. And I like the Commanders at home against a crappy Giants team.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. The problem with Daniel Jones in the past is same thing as we talked about Derek Carr. He's inconsistent too. He's had some big games, but more often than not, I feel like he doesn't. And now he's coming off a big injury, which doesn't help the case. I saw a stat that he's thrown more touchdowns to the other team than he has his own team since signing his biggest deal. More pick sixes than touchdowns.
Take the Commanders by
It's not
7.
someone I wanna put my money on, so,
Jesus.
um, the Commanders definitely, they're still learning to mesh,
Mhm.
Jaden Daniels obviously has to get into that NFL caliber, uh, type of role still, which I think he will, so I like it, and I'm seeing depending on where you can get that, Washington minus 1.5 too, still, so
Oh
is that
no,
what you said,
yes,
or do you
that's
have
what I
it at
said.
2?
I'm
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
minus one and a
okay,
half, so
perfect.
2 points. That's what I mean. Like
Got
even
it,
if it does
okay.
come down
Yeah,
to
yeah.
last second field goal, we're still covering by a point. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of surprised it's
Yeah.
not two
No,
and a
I
half.
like that.
I'm sure it'll move quickly, but yeah, Commanders on the spread seems like pretty easy money in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, there it is. The money line spread bets for week 2. We are gonna move on to my favorite segment because I beat Will last week. The the pick'ems, but we're gonna do our week 2 pick'ems this week. Now, Will, before we do that, you have already touched on your Broncos, emotional pick.
Mm.
You had a bit of bad luck last week.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
'Cause as we talked about, I picked the Bears and you picked the
Oh
Titans,
man.
and the Bears won, but let's be honest, it was because of their defense and special teams. Their offense and Caleb Williams played horrendous.
Horrendous.
I I think he had under 100 yards, if I
He
remember
did. He
correctly.
had like
Yeah.
96 yards or something.
Yeah, so I got that one by the old skin of the teeth there. You took the Chargers Raiders games. I had the Raiders, you had the Chargers. So you did get that one over me. But then you wore your Jets green. You wore your Jets green, and Aaron Rodgers, I have to say, looked really bad.
Ugh.
And you know what upset me about that game? Alan Lazard looked good, by the way. So if no one has picked Alan Lazard up in your waivers, jump
And
on
he
that.
was
But
real quick too. He was in my Monday night primetime picks, 18 and a half. He smashed it. Like I said, ridiculous. I saw that line and was like, what's going on here? So
oh yeah, he went off.
watch,
He had a
watch
good
our
game.
social, man. Come on. Giving you money.
Well, you, you should be on that social. He though what pissed me off about that, they gave up at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, they just took. I understand Rodgers and his injury last year and all that, but they just took him out. They ran the ball up the middle, and it really screwed me because I needed just 1 or 2 more rushing yards, from, Jordan Mason, and I know he already went off, but I was playing Jake Moody,
Oh,
and I've never seen a kicker get 26 points. I was I lost by point 0.3 points
mm,
in my fantasy league.
mm.
Killed me. But anyways, you took the Jets. Obviously, the 49ers came through. The one thing you did have though is you kind of did the old turn face on that Pat Cincy game at the end of our last one, and the Pats were able to pull that out in a surprising win over the Bengals. The Bengals have seems like a lot of work to do, meshing to do there on offense. I don't know. Obviously, they were without T. Higgins with his hamstring, which is a bad sign for them considering this is his 5th hamstring
Yeah.
injury in 6 years. But Jamar Chase not having been in camp and preseason activities, he still had the most out of any receiver, but I think that's obviously talent has a lot to do with that, and his years with Burrow. But still, they didn't look. That offense looked. They struggled, and they're going to have to figure that out this week. But we jump in to our week 2 picks. Let's starting with Thursday's big game, Bills Dolphins. Who you got, Willie?
This is going to be the one to break my back. I already know it in the pick. I already know it. I'm leaning Dolphins just because it's at home. Tyreek Hill got arrested last week. I think he's still going to be fired up about that. I'm a little worried because A Chain and Mostert are both listed on the injury report. I was reading this morning because I have A Chain in a team that it's not as serious as they think. He's been listed. He was listed last week. He obviously played, had a good week. He did hit that 78 and a half rush plus receiving yards. Again, check our social. But I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I'm going to go with the home team. I love Josh Allen. He played great week 1. I just don't think he can continue to do everything and anything every week, especially against a good Dolphins defense. So give me the Dolphins at home.
That won't be the one to break it because I'm going with you. I'm taking the Dolphins as well. I like their offense. They are just so
Mm-hmm.
powerful. We've talked about the Bills' offense. Obviously, Josh Allen did really well last week. I still think there's going to be a little bit of up and down with
Mm-hmm.
that team and that offense. So, um, whether this is the game that it is up and down, whether I'm right or wrong, we'll see. But I have to put my money on the Dolphins this week. Plus, I'm playing against Tyreek Hill in fantasy, so he'll go off and smoke me. So that's just my luck. But uh, then we move to Sunday, Seahawks Pats.
Oh man. I really like the way your Pats looked week one. Obviously, Joe Burrow's been dealing with an injury, yada yada yada.
Seahawks, Pats.
I know. I'm just running through it right now. I'll give me the Seahawks. I love that Patriots defense, but I think Gerard Mayo kind of used his beginner's luck in week one. Give me the Seahawks.
All right, I'll take the Pats on that one. I'll go the
Okay,
emotional pick this
okay,
week. You did the emotional pick last
okay,
week. I'll take the
okay.
emotional pick this week.
I'm writing this down.
Uh, split us there. I'll take the Pats. All right, Raiders, Ravens. I think we both are going to
Ravens.
be
Just
taking
don't
the
even need to
Ravens
talk
on
about it.
this one.
Yep. In the bank. Don't even need to talk about it.
Yeah, they're going to be wanting that win.
Mhm.
Browns, Jags.
Jags. I can't pick the Browns when Deshaun Watson doesn't look like he's even mentally there. He's so
He looks.
checked out.
That was
I feel
ridiculous.
bad because he's
Ridiculous.
definitely dealing with some off the field issues, but also at the same time, like more stuff keeps coming up that we don't need to talk about right now. But my God, dude, that dude's a liability. It's ridiculous, and he's got all that money guaranteed, so you can tell that he is not worried about his on-field performance. He could throw 10 picks and he's still getting a massive paycheck every week. So
That is true. Uh, give me the Jags as well. I'll take the Jags in that game. Jets Titans. I think the Jets get their first
mhm,
win.
mhm.
Struggled last week. We just talked about
Will
it.
Levis is a
They're going to be
bum.
back.
Yeah.
Get the
How do you give
taking the
up a
Jets.
17-point lead? Don't give up a touchdown on offense, and you literally hand that game to the Bears. Like, yes, their defense played out of their mind, but oh my God, dude.
Yeah, yeah, that I can't take the Titans right now. I got to take the Jets. Plus, their defense is good, despite how the 49ers showed them up.
Mm.
49ers, Vikings. The Vikings got their first win, which a lot of people didn't expect to happen last
Sam
week.
Darnold looked
Oh
good.
no, well, yes, we did actually on our show. We picked the
We did.
Vikings, but we did still say they're going to have a crappy year. I think the 49ers smoked the Vikings. I'm taking the
Oh, I
49ers.
don't even know what that spread is right now. I think it might be like 10.
Six,
Oh, it's 6. Oh my
6
God,
right now.
hammer the
Yeah.
spread. I'd take that in a heartbeat. And of course, real quick, like I'm now looking back and wish I could just smack myself a week ago thinking that the Jets were going to hang around with the NFC defending champion 49ers because they looked like they had not missed a step all year. The only dude that did was Brandon Ayuk missing a not easy catch in the end zone, but Peyton Manning called,
You get paid like that, you better make
and
that
Peyton Manning
catch.
called him out. It's like, this is why you go to training camp, sign the deal, get in camp. You won't miss reps and we won't drop balls. And I was like, man, it's like this dude's been doing this for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep, no, have to agree with that, though I did think you had a better chance when CMC, when they called him inactive, but Mason came to play, so,
Broke my
can't
back.
that was crazy, but, Chargers, Panthers, I think we're both going
Chargers.
with the
Yeah.
Chargers on this one. Panthers haven't
Yeah.
showed anything
No.
yet, so you can't go with them. Saints, Cowboys. We just talked about this.
If it was spread, you know what I'd take. God damn it.
I'm taking the
I'm
Cowboys.
taking the Saints. Let's get some parity
He's
here.
taking the
Give me the
Saints,
Saints.
ladies and
Let's just
gentlemen.
see what happens. This is gonna
Give
burn me,
Willie
but
P the
I'll take
Saints.
the Saints. I believe in the numbers. I believe.
Okay, all right. Giants, Commanders, taking the
Yep.
Commanders.
Yep.
We talked about that one. So we moved to the Bucks, Lions.
Mhm. Mhm.
Baker Mayfield had himself a day last weekend. 4 touchdowns. I think he had what 289 yards, 24 for 30. And with that, I'll be taking the Lions.
Yeah, me too. I was gonna say. I
Give me the
literally just
Lions.
looked. I was like,
Give
"Is this
me
game in Tampa?" And I was like, "No, it's in the Motor City." Yeah, we're going with the Lions. Yeah, no. Baker
yeah.
Mayfield looked like he was looking for an MVP in Week One. He looked phenomenal, and you should have picked him up if you needed a quarterback off the waivers. But yeah, I think Mike Evans getting 2 touchdowns this week against a pretty solid Lions defense is going to be interesting to see. But then again, Mike Evans is a dog, and if Baker keeps spinning the rock like that, I mean, who knows what will happen? But yeah, I'm with you. I'll take the Lions.
He's got confidence, but I can't go against the Lions quite yet. They're still playing that Lions grittiness, so I'm going to take them as well. Packers, Colts, taking the Colts. We
Yep.
talked about this one
Hmm.
already. No Jordan Love. Gotta lead towards the Colts. Rams, Cardinals. We talked about this one. Taking the Rams, I think both of us.
Hmm.
Um, can't really trust the Cardinals either quite yet. Though that game, the spread looks like it is Cardinals minus 1.5. Is that correct?
Hmm.
Yeah. So, but taking the Rams anyway. I don't care. Steelers, Broncos. Whoo,
Here,
now here we
dude,
are.
here we are.
Here we are.
I thought it was
I'm
gonna
gonna
be.
let you start us off.
Well, so here's the deal. I wanted to take my donkeys because I'm a loyal fan, but they just burned the hell out of me last week. And if Russell Wilson was going to be playing, I was going to take the Broncos. It sounds like, from everything I've seen this week, Tomlin came out yesterday, said they've been preparing Justin Fields to start. A ticket for that game, I was going to try and go. It is $250 for a nosebleed, which is just
Yep.
absurd. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to take the Denver Broncos. They are going to bounce back week 2. The Steelers defense looked really good. I'm really worried about this pick. If they burn me 2 weeks in a row, I will probably never pick them again, but I have to go with my boys. I think Bo Nix will have a much better showing in week 2. Granted, I do feel a little worried. The scheme for him looked promising. They kind of let him just kind of go. I think Sean Payton will rein him back a little bit. There was a lot of rollout stuff they were doing with him, which I think they should clean up because it caused him to force a lot of throws. But our defense looked good. Justin Fields is Justin Fields. So the one thing that I am worried about is that dude on the outside, which is excuse me, outside of the D line in T.J. Watt. He looks like he is just gonna blow through every offensive line this year. And if you need a future bet right now, I would take him to win Defensive Player of the Year because the way he played in Week 1, I know it's a small sample size, but that dude looks possessed right now. So you heard it here first. T.J. Watt, Defensive Player of the Year. But I'm taking the Broncos.
Taking the Broncos. Well, it won't burn you this week because I'm
No
also
way.
going to take those Denver Broncos, my man. Yep. I think well, first of all, I think they have to, if they have any chance of making a season. If Bo Nix uh, does not look good again, they're going to start hearing about it real
Mm-hmm,
fast, and then that's when teams start making just rash decisions,
mm-hmm.
right? So, I think they need it. The Steelers won, but the Steelers had all field goals.
That's
They
true.
didn't score a touchdown. So, I think that that will help the Broncos for sure. I also, you know, you got George Pickens there, but Patrick Surtain's gonna lock him up. I have Pickens on my team, and I may bench him this week because I just don't trust anyone that Surtain may be across from. So, um, I got to take the Broncos on
I
this
was
one.
trying to find, get in the lab yesterday, trying to find some data, on that little matchup that will be happening because I will be shocked if Sean Payton does not and Vance Joseph does not have, like you said, Sertan just blanketed all over him all game because he should be. And that's why
Yeah,
we paid him all the money that we did. And I couldn't find any data on it, so I guess they have not played each other, which is interesting. But yeah, I think Sertan should lock him up. And if we know anything about Justin Fields, when that pocket gets hairy, he can make some questionable decisions. So yeah, I hope my boys can at least make it a game, man. That first half
I
last.
hate the Broncos, but I'm taking the Broncos.
I love it. I love
All right, we got a big game next game here. Bengals Chiefs.
it.
Bengals kind of need a win. We're in division here. Chiefs looked good, got their win by, barely over the Ravens last week by a toe. Isaiah Likely's toe at that.
Mhm.
Um, this is tough.
Is it though?
I am going to take the Chiefs. I,
It's
I
not.
just
I
can't
really
go
don't think it's
against
that
the
tough. I
Chiefs.
just yeah.
Can't go against the Chiefs. I,
I can't go against the
I hate
Chiefs,
the
and
Chiefs.
just the way the Bengals looked week 1. I mean, not to talk shade on your Patriots, but they should be one of the worst teams in the league this year. And that defense just carved up Joe Burrow. And I get that he's finally fully healthy, supposedly yada yada yada. He had some bad luck last year, and obviously they didn't have T Higgins and all that jazz. But the Bengals right now, they just look like they're kind of grasping at straws, trying to figure out how to start this season. And it's tough to walk
I
into.
think I think Jamar Chase will have a big game.
I
I
believe
do.
that.
I think actually he's gonna have a really
He's gonna
big
have
game.
to because they're an Arrowhead,
But
so he's gonna have
yeah,
to.
but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
spread's 5.5. I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think Jamar Chase is gonna have to have a big game, but I can't take the Bengals right now. Mostly too because Joe Burrow's a fantasy quarterback of mine in one of my leagues, and he put up 8 points week 1, and I was really counting on him to pull some more weight, and he didn't. So I'm gonna wait till I
Yeah.
see it with the Bengals. But yeah, I crazy to think too that we're probably implying that the Bengals are going to start 0-2 this year. So it's a wild stat. I think
We will see. We will see. Bears, Texans. I think Caleb Williams gets to experience his first loss as an NFL starting quarterback. Uh, Texans, I think the line is 7 right
yeah,
now. The Texans, they look good. Their offense looks good. I mean, God, they have so many weapons. It is
their
crazy.
defense
But
is crazy.
yeah,
Caleb Williams'
I
first
think
road start, I bet he's going to have some doo doo in the pants, if you know what I mean. Like, my God, going into NRG, they're going to be eating him alive.
that's a night game. That's the night game for Sunday.
Oh,
So
oh no. Oh no. Give me the Texans by 10. I'm calling it right now. Holy
yeah,
cow. Oh man.
yeah, it might be more.
Yeah,
It might
well,
be
and I'm
more
sure
than
you
that.
saw that Hard Knocks clip of how about when he called the punter and was like, "You're not going to be punting much this year," and then he had like 6 punts on week one or
Yeah,
something. It's like, oh
it's
man, that did not age well.
guy's a little too cocky, and he's gonna find out. He's gonna find out real quick. I think the total for that game is that right? 45 and a
I
half.
dude,
Yeah, maybe the Texans have 45 and a half, and the Bears have 0.
dude, the Vegas
Texans
has
get
been
46. That's it.
dude, Vegas has been weird this year. Like the total for that Monday night game with the Jets and 49ers was like 43 and a half. And I was like, what are we doing here? And it hit the over hit at 51. I was like, you guys are getting a little crafty on us here. You know, you don't have us
Yeah.
fooled. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, you can't have half a point, but, expect the Texans to have 46 and the Bears to, get nothing. No, it'll probably be closer than that, but I think Houston's going to
yeah,
knock them, knock them dead a little bit there. Uh, and then we come to Monday night, which I think we'll agree on,
mm,
the old Falcons, Eagles. I think you gotta take the
yeah.
Eagles. Falcons are 0-1, Eagles are 1-0. It's at Philly, Monday night. Jalen Hurts, we've talked about it. That team has a Super Bowl contending team, or they should. Let's put it that way. With the talent they
I was
have.
going to say
So
they're not going to be a Super Bowl contender if Jalen Hurts throws 2 picks a game. He definitely needs to tighten up the play a little bit. Obviously, week one in Brazil,
a lot of
a
weird
lot of
stuff
it
week
was a
one.
weird
A lot
week
of
one,
weird.
and everybody I've talked to that watched and loves football, they're like, "What happened week one?" I'm like, "I don't know. It was bizarre," and I'm sure
Yeah.
Vegas was just loving it because they were like, "Oh, everybody, whatever." But yeah, Kirk Cousins did not look promising week one.
Pay a 36-year-old with an Achilles tear. That's what
Yeah, look at Aaron
happens.
Rodgers as well, man. I mean, god damn it. But yeah, give me the Eagles. I expect Saquon to also just eat again. I think he will have a good year all year. But yeah, he looks good. Wouldn't be surprised if AJ Brown had another big game. Yeah, Eagles are good, and they're going back to Philly.
Eagles.
That fan base is ruthless. So the moment Kirk Cousins starts showing his age, he's going to hear it. So yeah, give me the Eagles. I think that spread is also a touchdown, or it might be 6.
Six and
Six
a
and a half
half is what I'm
touchdown. Yeah,
seeing.
I'd take the Eagles on the spread. That feels safe to me for sure. A lot of hype around the
Yep.
Falcons this year, and so far, again, we have a very small sample size. Can't get ahead of ourselves, but if we're looking at face value, the Falcons really underperformed week one.
Yeah, and they have to pick it up a little bit because I'm pretty sure we picked them. Did we pick them in our divisional?
I think we did.
I think we did. So they better figure it
Should have
out.
picked the Bucks, dude. I was feeling it. Baker, dude. God damn it.
Yeah. Atlanta, hey, there's still a lot of football left. A lot
Yeah,
of
well,
football
yeah.
left. But with that, we move to the player prop bets for week 2. Will, what do you got?
We're gonna start with a Thursday night prop. Well, Josh Allen. We already talked about how we don't think he can do it every week. Well, he's gonna fucking have to if they're gonna win this game, and that starts with him going over 38.5 rushing yards. He averages 53.2 against the Dolphins, including the playoffs. So there's a little more, whatever.
A
But
little more oomph
but
there.
I like
A
him.
little more,
Excuse
a
me,
little
it's
more want.
36.5, not 38. I like him to go over the 36.5 rushing yards, like we've talked about earlier in the show. He's going to have to do anything and everything. That includes him using his legs. He did it last week. He had that jump man touchdown run against the Cardinals. I think 36.5 is an easy number that he will smash, especially on a Thursday night primetime game on the road. He's going to have to use his legs to keep keep that offense rolling because we obviously have seen that he's still kind of figuring out his chemistry with his wide receivers. So everybody's kind
Yep.
of predicting that Khalil Shakir is going to, move his way into wide receiver one. Keon Coleman didn't do as much as I think people would have liked as a first round pick. But yeah, give me Josh Allen over. It's minus 115. I'm sure it'll move down, honestly, a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised by game day. It's minus 125, minus 130 because that number just seems way too low for me for a primetime game. So,
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good one. I think that's almost I don't know if I call it a lock, but pretty
pretty
close
dang
too.
close for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
I've
like
already
that.
taken it.
Get your money in there
Yeah.
now.
Oh, yeah. Next one, excuse me. He had a kind of a rough week one, especially for what he's done in Washington in his past career. But I like Curtis Samuel to go over 18.5 receiving yards. He only had 2 receptions last week for 15 yards. Um,
That was weird.
it was
I
very
saw that. I
weird.
was very confused because we've talked about how we think he's gonna have a
Hmm.
pretty big year
Hmm.
with Josh Allen,
Hmm.
so that was odd.
And I again, like what I just said, not to beat the same horse, but it seems like he's figuring out his chemistry with his wide receivers and Josh Allen. I think he wants to spread it around a little bit. I think Curtis Samuel could be the guy to definitely get over 18.
Curtis Samuel's also dealing with an injury, though, I think,
Yeah.
for much of the preseason, so that might have had something to do with it. Hopefully, that feels a little bit better and they get a little bit more to him in practice
Yeah,
this
it,
week.
it was weird. Just looking at his week one, he only had 2 targets. He caught both of them. I think that number, his volume will go up. It should. I don't think Khalil Shakir is going to get like 10 targets a game. I think Josh Allen is going to go by the Patrick Mahomes mantra of last year and really spread that ball around because he doesn't have a clear cut wide receiver one. I think if Curtis Samuel is going to go over 18.5, which is a low number, it's going to be in a primetime game, like a primetime divisional game on Thursday Night Football this week. So I like him to go over 18.5. It's minus 118.
Love it.
Next one, we got Jonathan Taylor, anytime touchdown. We saw what that Packers rush defense looked like last week. Saquon obviously just tore them up and had his way with them. I think Jonathan Taylor would do the same thing. We already talked earlier in the show about taking Colts spread. I think this will be a reason why they cover the spread. Jonathan Taylor's a powerful runner. He had a good week. Pretty middle of the road week one. He did get in the end zone, but I like Jonathan Taylor to have a big game against the Packers this week, and for him to get in the end zone. So
Hell yeah.
I got two. I got three more actually. I got Frisky yesterday. I was like, I love the way these
Ooh,
lines are looking.
quite the amount.
Um,
Yes, I like it. Hey, more money for the
this one
viewers.
is another hater pick. I have two hater picks. Don't want to be a hater, but it is. I don't even know what the odds are on this because they haven't come out yet. They should be out by today. But Bryce Young to throw a pick. I wouldn't be surprised if it's minus 200. And if it is, don't take it.
That makes me sad, but
That
yeah,
makes me sad too. I
I
know
get you
he's your
gotta take
Alabama
it.
guy, but every game I see him play, he's looking more and more like a bust, which is a bummer. So obviously, like we talked about, I think 2 weeks ago, Dave Canales, the new head coach of the Panthers, has revitalized 2 quarterback careers before he got to Carolina in Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield. We'll see if he's up for the task in this one because it looks like a very daunting task. So that being said, yeah, I don't know what the odds are. Again, if it's like minus 160, don't take it because I feel like it might be because Bryce Young is just a floundering fish in that backfield for the Panthers right now. But Bryce Young to throw a pick. The other hater pick I have is Will Levis to throw a pick. He obviously sold that week one game for the Titans. He looks like he is also playing himself out of a job very quickly. Um, yeah. So, and my final,
That Jets defense is going to
they're gonna
be
feast. I bet
they
Sauce is gonna
after week 1, yeah, they
get.
that you could take that. You may be able to get Will Levis for 2 picks on
Yeah.
that,
Oh
so
man. And then my last one, I like Brian Robinson Jr. to find the end zone for the Commanders. I have him on my couple fantasy teams. He had a great week, but he got vultured by Jane Daniels having 2 rushing touchdowns. I have rarely, I feel like, at least in the NFL, seen an NFL offense run the just classic read option on the 1 yard line, but they did that twice, and it broke my heart. Um, I'm going with Brian Robinson Jr. on this, even from that trend, just because if I'm the Commanders, I don't want to be using my first
the rookie
overall pick
QB to
on the ground in the
yeah.
goal line. When you have a guy like Brian Robinson Jr., it just doesn't, the math doesn't math for me logically long term to keep that guy healthy. And he did find the end zone himself anyway. So I like Brian Robinson Jr. to keep that thing going. He was running strong, especially against a crappy Giants defense. I think that's a, feel very good about that pick, and it should be around plus 120, 130. So you'll get a little extra juice.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got to agree on that one. Well, there you have it. Those are the prop bets for week 2. As we move forward, we'll meet you back here next week for more betting fantasy advice from Willie P. Make sure to check out the socials and the website, thepredictors.com. We have a lot of prop bets up there as well. See you then.